Business Live, Nigeria to join Ghana and Ivory Coast cocoa agreement of a living income differential of $400 per metric ton of cocoa beans.
And other cocoa producing countries are benefiting, while Nigeria cocoa farmers are at disadvantage of this benefit.
What will this mean to the unregulated, ever-liberated cocoa pricing regime? We'll tell you. Also, the fertilizer supply challenge. The UN is warning of an imminent global food crisis.
There is no effective solution to the food crisis without reintegrating Ukraine's food production, as well as the food and fertilizer produced by Russia and Belarus, into world markets despite the war.
And it's day 2 of the meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana as they decide the policy rate. We'll have an extensive interview with business leader Ken Thompson, who is downplaying its effect on rising inflation.
What is causing the inflation? It's not an increase in money supply, it's an increase in prices. We have a full-blown crisis with respect to the cost of living. And unfortunately, the governor cannot do anything about it.
We have more stories coming shortly after commodities. Do stay with us. This evening, Nigeria will be joining Ghana and Ivory Coast to impose a living income differential of $400 per metric ton on all cocoa buying companies in the Federal Republic. This move makes the world's 4th leading producer of cocoa, which is Nigeria, to be the first to be added to the Ghana-Ivory Coast Initiative, Cocoa Initiative, which aims at dealing with the unregulated and liberated pricing regime of shortchanging cocoa farmers. We have more in this report. 5 years into the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire cocoa agreement, and the world's 4th largest cocoa producer, Nigeria, is all set to join in. Speaking at a consultative meeting between management of Cocoa Board and a Nigerian delegation, Director for Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Abdullahi Abubakar, explained that joining the agreement will mean a decent livelihood for cocoa farmers in Nigeria, who've had no option but to sell a ton of cocoa beans below the living income differential of $400 agreed between Ghana and Ivory Coast.
Cocoa is the highest non-oil contributor to the Nigerian GDP, and Nigeria is ranked number 4 among cocoa producing countries in the world. Cocoa Farmers Association of Nigeria, CFAN, being an organized umbrella body of smallholder farmers across the cocoa producing states, seek to improve the livelihood of their farmers through living income differential of $400 per ton of cocoa beans sold. Ghana and other cocoa producing countries are benefiting, while Nigeria cocoa farmers are at disadvantage of this benefit.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Eju, laments the underrepresentation of leading cocoa producers like Ghana and Ivory Coast in the global value chain. He says the coming on board of Nigeria will mean a 75% stake in global cocoa pricing.
Nigeria coming in, and maybe we don't know if we are praying that apart from even Nigeria, Cameroon will also come on board, so that we have a very formidable force within the African continent. If we can do that, then we can have a stronger say in the market.
The global cocoa industry is estimated to be worth $100 billion annually. Before the LID was implemented, cocoa farmers in Ghana and Ivory Coast were less paid. The low price of cocoa is tied to increased child labor, slavery, trafficking, and deforestation. In Ivory Coast, for example, 90% of the forest has disappeared in the last 60 years, according to the Forest and Wildlife Inventory of the country. Let's now talk trade, because countries within the West African region have been entreated to promote dialogue and synergies among each other to ensure trade transformation. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Dr. Efua Asare, this will aid in increasing access to regional and international markets and create better linkages among selected value chain actors. She spoke to the media at the second annual general meeting of the ECOWAS Trade Promotion Organization Network, of which we have more in this report.
The second general meeting was to focus on how countries within the region will position itself to play a pivotal role in galvanizing its members in exploring and maximally benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Area through various instrumentalities of trade. According to Dr. Efua Asare, members of the organization should work collectively to achieve such feats.
The trade promotion organizations that you saw this morning is actually the ECOWAS network. It is West Africa coming together. We think that with the existing blocks like ECOWAS and COMESA and all the other ones that are in Africa, if we are able to make even trading easy in our little corner, it will help impact the rest of Africa. It will make it very easy for us then to take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area agreement which we have signed on to. That is why we have decided to work closely together as a team, because if I cannot even export to Nigeria without hitting barriers in Togo and Benin, then what am I doing thinking of exporting to Egypt? So we need to even strengthen our own little corner here in ECOWAS before we can then move on to take advantage of the larger Africa, and that is what we are trying to do.
President for the Trade Promotion Organization Network, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, says in the quest for the region to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the organization is working on sensitization programs for exporters within the ECOWAS region.
We're going to do this by sensitization programs among our members, because it's only when you know that you do what you need to do. And so we've discussed with our members, and we are willing and able to organize advocacy programs for exporters within the region. We're working on that. We're also working on capacity building programs for not only the exporters but the officers from various trade promotion organizations. So we intend to do that so that they can leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area, because that is very key for us. By the way, the ECOWAS TPO network was set up to ensure that we take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and not only in Africa but also other markets internationally.
The program is set to improve the regional value chain and transform economies in West Africa.
The UN is warning that Russia's war in Ukraine could soon cause a global food crisis that may last for years. Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the war has worsened food security in poorer nations due to the rise in prices. He said some countries could face long-term farming if Ukraine's exports are not restored to pre-war levels.
Russian invasion in Ukraine is amplifying and accelerating all these factors: climate change, COVID-19, and inequality. It threatens to tip tens of millions of people over the edge into food insecurity, followed by malnutrition, mass hunger and famine in a crisis that could last for years. But let's be clear, there is no effective solution to the food crisis without reintegrating Ukraine's food production, as well as the food and fertilizer produced by Russia and Belarus, into world markets despite the war.
Now, as businesses wait for the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to end its meeting and announce the policy rate on Monday, the Chief Executive of DLX Finance, Ken Thompson, has downplayed any significant effect of the rise in inflation. The policy rate is currently at 17%, while inflation is at 23.6%. Ken Thompson spoke extensively to Lawrence Segbefia. Listen to what he makes of the rise in inflation.
You know, I've heard a lot of commentary on the airwaves about the MPC meeting, and a lot of Ghanaians are expectant. But the truth of the matter is that we've got to look at what is causing the inflation. It's not an increase in money supply, it's an increase in prices. We have a full-blown crisis with respect to the cost of living. We have a cost of living crisis. And unfortunately, the governor cannot do anything about it. The governor cannot do anything about this cost of living price crisis because it's coming from increase in the price of oil, which affects everything. It's coming from decrease in the supply of commodities because of what's happening in Ukraine, extra. A lot of countries have actually banned, including Ghana, the export of food. So the governor can't do anything about it. There's nothing that can be done. We have to swallow it. We have to swallow it. I mean, prices have gone through the roof. So if I'm a betting man, I would say that the rates probably remain the same. And even if you look at, say, a place like England, I mean, they hit inflation of nearly 10% this April, and the base rate is about hovering under 2%. We've just got to swallow it. There's very little the governor can do about it. There's very little the MPC can do about it. We just have to swallow it.
So if you say that there is very little the governor can do about it, does it then mean that we should look at the fiscal side? And if we are looking at the fiscal side, what are we supposed to do?
If you know, this, unfortunately, is going to get much worse before it gets better, even if we start doing something about it. It's going to get much worse before it starts getting better. Here is a country that has been addicted to foreign goods and services forever. And I've talked about this so many times. We're addicted to foreign goods and services. So of course, we import inflation. Of course, it presents an opportunity for Ghanaians to now start to produce, but we have to start. You know, what really breaks my heart, is my staff, they hound me, and I'm using hound with a small a, they hound me for increase in salaries. And I honestly wish I could double everybody's salary. Because we've been hit with, not only in the inflation, what's the cause? We had currency depreciation, we had increase in oil prices, we have increase in food prices. It's a triple whammy. But I can't, as a business, we can't do it. We just can't. And really, I'm the CEO, so maybe I have a bit more cushion, only because probably I earn a bit more. But my lifestyle has changed. My lifestyle has changed. If you ask my staff, all I eat every afternoon is a yogurt gari, which is okay. I don't mind that. But I suspect that there'll be some starvation. I suspect that. I mean, if you look at the price of gari basics, basic gari, plantain, there'll be some starvation. And it's going to get much worse before it gets better, because we've been addicted to foreign goods and services for a very long time. So it was obvious that something like this would hit us. And everybody in Ghana knows that we are addicted to foreign goods and services. I mean, I'll give you examples of things, that opportunities that have been there that we've never taken advantage of. Do you know that Ghana is the second largest importer of tomato paste behind Germany? Can you imagine? We spend approximately $28 million on tomato paste every year. We spend over $300 million on importing chicken every year. So of course, if price of chicken goes up externally, it's going to affect us. And people will talk about the feed extra. Yes, I agree, but we were sitting ducks. And it's going to get much worse before it gets better.
What would be your response to those on the government side who say that there were good initiatives like the planting for food and jobs, which saw a lot of injection of money, and so we should have seen this food on the market?
So who's being held responsible for not seeing the food on the market? It's the people that executed. What are they talking about? You say you put in 100 million in a project, and when we need food, we don't get it. You say, so is it my responsibility? It's the people that were put in place to execute. Is it my responsibility? Let's not even go there. I don't want to talk about this. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. And I think a lot of money has been spent. But here we are where, if you buy plantain, one finger of plantain is, I don't know, 1 cedi. Okra, 1 cedi. Tomatoes, 1 cedi. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how much was invested in agricultural infrastructure, because if it was invested in agricultural infrastructure, we had dams, things like dams, warehouses, then probably there's a possibility that these can now take over and support our farmers. How much? But even if you are planting tomatoes, use an example, the roads are terrible. So by the time you add on the cost of transportation, really, you're back to square one. It's the responsibility of government. It's not my responsibility.
Okay, let's look forward. So going forward, we are aware. We know that there was planting for food and jobs. There was one dam, one village, and all that. Do you think the implementation didn't go well? Is that what you are suggesting?
All I know, and I don't know how the details, but all I know is that we have a cost of living crisis and people will starve. We have a cost of living crisis, and let's deal with it. What's happened is happened. I don't deal with that. So all the money was spent in build dams. Where is the effect on the table when people go to the market? That is what matters. Isn't that what matters? That's what matters. The rest is irrelevant. We have to swallow the inflation. My prediction is that the rates won't change much, if at all, they remain the same. And we have to take a long-term position as to solve this problem, because we are addicted to foreign goods and services. So in as much as a lot of inflation has come from overseas, a lot more has come from us, because we've never done the things that are necessary for us to create jobs, build indigenous businesses, so that we can grow and develop. What are we complaining about?
When we saw inflation going up, we saw the central bank also react by increasing the policy rate. And still, inflation has gone up and it is above the policy rate. Some say it is a mismatch. So, you are saying from the monetary side, what the central bank will do may not amount to, but there are some others who also think that it may take some time for us to see the effects. What is your response to that?
If you follow global affairs, I mean, a lot of countries are in the same situation because, the price have gone up through nothing that, is being due to external forces. If for nothing at all, the price of fuel has gone up. The governor has the governor of the central bank has one key instrument: interest rates. What's he going to do? He's going to take, if I was a governor, I'll take a long-term view. So what? Increase interest rates to the MPC rate to 27%. That's a collapse. That's no more collapse. But we've got to take a long-term view. We've got to find ways to swallow it, and we've got to manage it, and we've got to be able to show that we're going to recover over time. And that's source of interest, to people that invest. And those things are key. But I don't expect the rate to go. If we're going by that approach, then the rate will go, let's say, looking at 26%, I doubt it very much. It will probably remain the same. And they're going to take a long-term view of the market. Because what's afflicting us is afflicting the bigger economies in the world. Their inflation rates are higher than their base rates, much higher. I mean, not much higher, but in terms of they're higher, yes. All right.
So you've mentioned interest rates, and the concern is that interest rates to the real sectors of the economy, agriculture, agribusiness, manufacturing, is high, and it is one of the reasons why we are not seeing the growth that we want. You are a key player in the financial sector. What is the solution to this particular challenge?
If we really want to grow, then we've got to ensure that the government stays out of business. All we're looking for, all the private sector is looking for, is create regulations, make them fair, make them transparent, and let people work. That is all we're looking for. That is all. I mean, you run a small outfit. Today is FDA. Tomorrow is food and drugs. That's just food and drug. Tomorrow is NIB. It's BNI, National Security, GRA, the Assembly. Just let us work. That's all Ghanaians are looking for, because you don't realize that over 70% of the economy is informal. And when you go up and down the country, you don't see people looking for government to help them. They want to work. Just create the infrastructure and allow us to work. Let the courts work. That's what we're looking for. And if we really are serious, those are the things to look at, and let people work. That's all it is. And that is what is going to get out of this hole. And in another, in the same breath, what I'll say is that the small and medium scale enterprises should put their house together. I mean, I come across a lot of business, you don't know what your margins are, you don't know what your rent per square foot is, you don't know what your cost of staff is, you don't take stock, and every day you complain. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, what are you complaining about? So create the environment for people to do business. And if you go up and down this country, nobody wants government help. All they say is that give us the tools to work. Create the infrastructure and stay out of business. That's all.
Business Live still to come. The Africa Beyond Aid agenda. President Akufo-Addo urges African countries to deepen trade.
I'm saying that African countries need to engage more closely, deeply, and competitively through trade, investments, political cooperation, and enhanced regional initiatives in peace and security.
We have more from the president after this break. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. President Akufo-Addo says African countries must integrate more closely through competitive business, political cooperation, and investment for the realization of an Africa Beyond Aid. According to him, African countries should make the most of the African Continental Free Trade Area by adding value to their resources before exporting them in order to transform their economies. The president was speaking at the Academy of African Business and Development Conference in Accra.
The aim to find solutions to the challenges facing development of African businesses, President Akufo-Addo called on African countries to enhance their efforts to develop in a sustainable way and take responsibility for their sustainable growth. Speaking at the Academy of African Business and Development 22nd Annual Conference, he explained that economies can be transformed through value-added industrial economy.
I'm saying that African countries need to engage more closely, deeply, and competitively through trade, investments, political cooperation, and enhanced regional initiatives in peace and security. Together, African countries need to build our continent by building upon our strengths and holding each other up. Then, and only then, can we grow organically by wielding greater negotiating power to develop the continent of Africa. For a continent that has made the choice of pursuing integration, we have not done much as we should have in liberalizing and promoting trade amongst ourselves.
Meanwhile, Simon Sige, president of the Academy of African Business and Development, argued that Africa's intra-trade activity should be expanded to improve economies.
Definitely, I think that when you look at most of the economy in Africa today, the African economy are growing. Okay, I won't say that we will take credit, us as an academy, on what is going on in Africa, but I think that we are playing our part because most of the time we do research and we put the inside our research they are available to those who make decisions. So I believe that there should be a connection there because the work that we do is practical, is relevant, and is useful.
Academy of African Business and Development annual conferences aim at facilitating multidisciplinary research by stimulating collaborations between Africa-based researchers and professionals and their counterparts around the world by broadening and deepening global understanding of various issues relevant to Africa's business and development, as well as advancing solutions to some of her challenges.
That'll be it for Business Live. For more news, please log on to myjawline.com, where you can get trending business stories in Ghana and around the world. That's how we end the bulletin. Many thanks for watching.